Welcome to the commission meeting of June 13th, 2023. Let's rise for pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Manager McGill, if you could call the roll, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Flynn,
Present.
Commissioner Ranny,
Here.
Commissioner Swager Wilson,
Here.
Commissioner Silverman,
Here.
Commissioner Grella is not able to join us this evening.
Okay, first on the agenda, manager announcements, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier tonight, the commission met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next regular meeting of the commission will be held on Tuesday, June 27th. That meeting will begin at 8 p.m. in this room. Here are the ways the public can participate. In person, you don't need to pre-register, simply show up at the appropriate meeting time, or remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, you don't need to pre-register, simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during the citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raise hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak. Immediately preceding this meeting, the commission met in discussion session and received information and discussed the following items. We heard a fairly extensive presentation on a review and possible revisions to the current sidewalk installation policy. We'll bring that back for a brief update at a future discussion session. And we also heard a presentation on low carbon paving from Gateway Engineers and a representative from Lindy Paving. Unfortunately, due to some power issues and timing, we did not get to boards updates from the commission, but we will pick that up at our next discussion session.
Great, thank you. Next up, community highlights. Commissioner Vice President Sparkle Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. When you log on to mountlebanon.org, you're going to notice a very large change. Our municipal website has been completely overhauled. The new design is more accessible, more usable, and it's much easier to find what you're looking for. I promise it really is. We're still rolling out new features regularly. Coming soon will be the new police page, as well as a chat bot to answer your questions quickly. So check back frequently. While we've connected some of the most frequently used pages, you may want to reset your bookmarks. The Mount Lebanon Public Library's annual garden tour is Sunday, June 25th from 11 to 4. Tickets are $20 and are available in advance at the library and at mountlebanonlibrary.org. Tickets will be $25 the day of the tour, so get them early. Make sure to attend one of Mount Lebanon's most popular events, the July 4th celebration in Mount Lebanon Park. Our fabulous rec department will feature games and rides for the kiddos from noon to 5. Come back at 7:30 for a concert in the park with Radio Tokyo, followed by fireworks at 9:30. The rain date for the concert and fireworks only is July 5th. If we reschedule, you will receive a LEBO alert. Sign up for alerts at mylebo.mountlebanon.org. The fun continues on Sunday, July 9th at the Mount Lebanon Police Department Classic Car Show starting at 9 a.m. on Washington Road. Enjoy food vendors, live music, and some fantastic automobiles. Within the same event from 9 a.m. to noon, the Mount Lebanon Public Library presents the annual Touch a Truck event over on Alfred Street with fire, police, and public works vehicles. Admission is free. Congratulations to Mount Lebanon Magazine for bringing home an armful of Golden Quill Awards at the annual competition sponsored by the Press Club of Western PA. In addition to awards for the best photo and best traditional feature story, the magazine took home the Best of Show Award for writer Ann Caffey's story on bees. It's the highest award given to all magazine entries, and it is the first time the magazine has earned it. Also, I'd like to congratulate my 7-year-old granddaughter, Jane, who today conquered learning how to ride a two-wheeled bicycle, two-cycle. I bring it up because, of course, I love Jane, but also to remind us to slow down. It's summer, and Jane, like a lot of 7-year-olds and 6-year-olds, are out there riding their bikes for the first time, and they're really not she's smart, but she's busy holding on and looking forward and not paying attention to cars. So please slow down. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for
Jay.
that advice. Next on the agenda, is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion in any topic pertaining to local government. The commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have any specific questions, we will try and answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you the answers as soon as possible. To call your name, please come to the podium to address commissions, state your name and address for the record. In fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in this room and online. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we hope the dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate the audience's efforts to refrain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. First on the list, Colonel Hoon, come on down.
Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. Was reading an article in Mount Lebanon Magazine in which the author described Mount Lebanon as a premier community. That's false. Mount Lebanon has never been anything more than a middle-class community. And it's been slipping for some time now. The school is a prime example. Its rating steadily slipping. I've been in premier communities and I've been in upscale communities, not only in the United States, but in Europe. And I can tell you, people in an upscale community would not put up with the weapons that you brought into this township. Most of them are very much into the environment. And if there are any weapons in their community, they're on security personnel, not hired kill teams. So that propaganda sheet that Parks Advisory put out for you folks, they claim that the deer bring in Lyme's disease. Well, I was just diagnosed today with my 3rd round of Lyme's disease this year. And I was warned by my physician that it'd be a good idea if I modify some of my behaviors. I was also warned by my wife. She doesn't appreciate me developing illnesses. So the others, the reason I bring that up is because over the years, I've become somewhat of an expert on Lyme's disease. I have worked in healthcare. I think you know that. I have a master's of public health. I have a lot of friends in the epidemiology community. It is so simple to check things up. There are no diseases transmitted from deer to humans, although chronic wasting disease is getting a lot of attention by the CDC. The other thing Parks Advisory brought up was deer responsible for invasive species in Mount Lebanon. That's really interesting. Birds bring in almost all transmission of seeds, including those of invasive species, to new territories. So, people in my group, Friends of the Earth, are rather tired of all the garbage that comes out supposedly being true and is used as the basis for ongoing killing programs. It's really rather sad. And what has happened to Mount Lebanon as a result of the activities of our commission over the years is a real problem. You look at the rest of Western Pennsylvania, if you talk to people, all you hear when deer come up, what's going on with Mount Lebanon? What is all that? Now the deer are crashing cars. What? That doesn't happen here. And then I tell them, hey, it doesn't happen anywhere, but we can use anything for an excuse in Mount Lebanon. That's all we do. We create a scenario and jam the deer into it. We think what you guys are doing is throwing everything possible at deer and hoping something sticks. Why don't we do our jobs? You know, I was coming up here tonight, bumped into one of those barriers, fell on the friggin' sidewalk. How long are we gonna do this? This construction project, everybody that drives past year after year thinks there's something wrong with our township. And yeah, there is. I don't know what to say. It's gotten so sad, it's just incredible. Thank you very much. Have a
Thank-
wonderful day.
Thank you, Colonel. We wish you a speedy recovery. Next on the list, Rob Mackey.
Good evening. My name is Rob Mackey. I am at 610 Royce Avenue. And this evening, I and my fellow Parks Advisory Board member, Tom Shevchuk, will be talking about our 2024 budget prioritization items. You have a list there. I just first want to thank Finance Director McCreary for giving us an overview of the budget formulation process as it pertains to advisory boards. He took a lot of time to go through the key dates and milestones and answer a lot of questions. In fact, the transcript and the video would be a good learning tool for future boards. We could even document what Mr. McCreary said so he doesn't have to repeat it next time. Already documented that is. So thank you, Director McCreary. So in order to develop our priorities, we looked at last year's list, topics that have come up in the comprehensive plan discussions, and most importantly, the 2022 Parks Master Plan that covered a lot of ground. Before the vote, we had discussions on each item, allowed people to ask questions and advocate or perhaps whatever the reverse of advocate is for any particular item. Because of the board reorganization that's pending, we thought it was important to emphasize the nature and passive park aspects of our charge. So I think it's reflected for the most part in our final list, although the number 2 Meadowcroft Park is clearly an active use asset, and that reflects a pragmatic attitude to finish the project that we and previous boards had already gotten going. So you have the list there, 5 items, 5 are number 1 being the most important, and it was far and away the biggest winner, this implementation of the Woodlands Parks recommendations for invasive species, which Tom will talk about. I'll just take a moment to talk about number 3, forest management plan for our street trees. This is to be operational things like the use of trunk guards to protect the trees from deer, watering bags, but also species selection in the context of a changing climate, planting and harvest schedules so we don't deforest an entire neighborhood because all the trees are the same species of the same age that might then be susceptible to the same disease around the same time. And I think the tougher part is valuing the trees as assets and doing the financial planning to ensure we have the money to manage them through their entire life cycle. So that is on the list as number 3. I will allow Tom to talk about number 1. And then end of that comment, but in my minute and 20 seconds left, again, I'll reiterate, anyone who wants to come into the parks with me and observe the damage that deer do to our trees and our habitat, and this always happens,
I know.
and further discuss the combination of overbrowsing by deer and the word is allelopathy. This is chemicals that some of our plant species release to prevent the growth of other plants. The combination of these things has helped put us in the position to require a forest management plan and potentially tens of thousands of dollars to recover our forests. So I'll end with 30 seconds left. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. No, thank you for your comments. Next on the list, Tom Sobczak.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Sobczak, 519 Lyndhurst Avenue. And as Rob mentioned, I'm also on the Parks Advisory Board, newly appointed and delighted to be the privilege of working with that group. I just want to amplify very briefly, what the Parks Advisory Board's #1 priority for this coming fiscal year's capital improvement budget is, which is the implementation of the currently ongoing woodlands and invasive study. By funding that last year, the commission and the municipal leadership has shown your understanding of the importance of our 130 or so acres of passive use, forest land parks, and the recognition that that is indeed a valuable capital asset in all different sorts of ways, which provides all sorts of different benefits in terms of stormwater and aesthetics and recreational opportunities and wildlife habitat and on and on. We've met briefly with Oikos, I should say, the consultant back a couple of weeks ago, and with the Public Works folks and Jonathan Farrell and some of the other folks who've been very knowledgeable and very involved with that study and with the preservation of our habitat in the woodlands areas. And obviously, Oikos will be giving you a full report at some point later this summer, we would imagine, as to what they're finding, what their recommendations are. But they're preliminary, and I don't want to speak for them, but I'll presume to do that a tiny bit. Yeah, bottom line, some of the parks are in serious trouble in terms of tree canopy and tree cover and the viability of the existing ecosystem due to invasives and other stressors. And so again, we very much look forward to working with the results of that study and the municipality developing a phased implementation program. They won't have all the answers at the end of the summer, but hopefully they will be providing us with a good comprehensive roadmap of what we can do in 2024 in terms of quick, easy, cost-effective, immediate solutions, plus additional planning efforts in terms of where do we plant trees, what trees do we plant, what is the best strategy? Do we go after small areas and do them upright all the way, or do we spread our efforts, what have you? So we look forward very much to that moving forward, and we certainly would urge the commission as the budget process moves ahead over the next 4 or 5, 6 months to continue, your support of moving into the phased implementation stage. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and kudos to the Mount Lebanon Nature Conservancy's work in Bird Park this over the weekend. A lot of volunteers there, so good stuff. Let's see, do we have anybody online that wants to make a comment?
Nobody has their hand raised.
Ready? Anybody else in the room want to make a comment? Nope. All right, that concludes citizens' comments. Item 3, Commissioner Swager Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration of the minutes from the adjourned meeting held May 23rd, 2023. I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
The motion has been moved and second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same, I wasn't there.
Okay, all right, so 3-0, yes, with an abstention. All right. Thank you. Item 4, Commissioner Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public hearing on ordinance bill number 4-23, amending the charter regarding commission vacancies. Currently, the Mount Lebanon Home Rule Charter provides that in the event of a commission vacancy, the remaining commissioners will appoint a qualified person to serve until the next available election. As recently demonstrated, this rule is cumbersome and sometimes confusing in that the next available election can require an extremely short appointment term and a short elected term. In addition, such elections can take place when voters are not otherwise anticipating an election of this type at the municipal level. The proposed ordinance would result in commission vacancies being filled on the normal 2-year municipal election cycle found in the school code, the judicial codes, and municipal codes for municipalities that are not home rule charter. The proposed ordinance would place this issue on the November 7th, 2023 general election ballot. The voters must approve the ordinance for it to be effective. This ordinance was introduced on May 23rd, 2023.
Okay, thank you. We'll now conduct a public hearing. There is no one on the sheet here who signed up. Anybody having heard Commissioner Flynn's explanation want to come up and speak? Nick, anybody online want to have their hand raised?
Nobody has their hand raised.
All righty. All right. Going once, going twice. All right, public hearing is now closed. Item 5, Commissioner Rainey, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of resolution number R-8-23, authorizing the execution of the transfer agreement and related documents, instruments, and agreements with Alcosan and the transfer to Alcosan of certain sanitary sewer system assets. As part of Alcosan's consent decree with EPA, they are required to make a good faith effort to work with municipalities and regionalize intermunicipal trunk sanitary sewers. This plan is known as the Wet Weather Plan. As part of Mount Lebanon's consent decree with Allegheny County Health Department, the municipality also has certain obligations with respect to its sanitary sewer system, such as making good faith effort to work with Alcosan regarding certain intermunicipal trunk sanitary sewer lines and the associated manholes that connect such sewer lines, collectively called the assets. Previously, the Mount Lebanon Commission had determined that fulfillment of the Wet Weather Plan and satisfaction of certain aspects of the consent order can be most efficiently undertaken if a portion of the municipality's sanitary sewer system that serves other municipal systems was owned and operated by Alcosan. Portions of the sanitary sewer as identified in the transfer agreements are proposed to be transferred to Alcosan to fulfill the requirements of the Wet Weather Plan and are located in the following point of connection POC sewer sheds: C-48, C-49, C-53, MH-18, S-15, SMR-CS-14, SMR-CS-42. I move to adopt the resolution number R-8-23, authorizing the transfer of certain sewer system assets to Alcosan.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
We did have a public discussion on that, at least one, so there's a lot more information. We've been talking about that, just so the public knows.
Right. Anybody else? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Item 6, Commissioner Swager Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a consideration for the renewal of the Deer Management Program for 2023-2024. In 2021, municipality received proposals for the provision of services related to the deer management program. In 2021, the commission authorized a contract with Suburban Wildlife Management Solutions LLC with the option to renew for 2 additional years. This will be the second renewal year of the contract. The cost for the archery program for 2023-2024 is $9,000, and the cost of the professional sharpshooting in 2024 is $38,565. The award of the sharpshooting portion of the contract is contingent upon the municipality receiving the necessary permits for the program from the Pennsylvania Game Commission. The motion is to extend the deer management program into 2023-2024 with Suburban Wildlife Management Solutions in the amount of $47,565 for deer management services, including archery and sharpshooting, with the municipal option to renew the contract for 1 additional year.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 7, Commissioner Flynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration to execute a one-year extension for the assignment of a school resource officer for the Mount Lebanon School District. At the request of the school district in 2018, the municipality and the school district executed an agreement under which the municipality provided a police officer to serve as a full-time officer to the school district to act as the school resource officer, or SRO. The current agreement will expire on June 30th, 2023, and the parties wish to extend the agreement to continue the current terms, conditions and services of the SRO for an additional one-year term expiring June 30th, 2024. I move to authorize the proper official to execute a one-year extension for the assignment of a school resource officer for the Mount Lebanon School District.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item 8, Commissioner Rainey, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of an agreement by and between the municipality of Mount Lebanon and the Service Employees International Union Local 32BJ. The union represents Mount Lebanon's crossing guards. The current labor agreement with this group expires on July 31st, 2009.
I'd say
2023. 2023. July 31st, 2023. This agreement is for a 5-year period and provides for wage increases, changes in compensation, and clarification of certain benefits. I move to approve the agreement by and between the municipality of Mount Lebanon and the Service Employees International Union Local 32BJ and authorize the proper municipal officials to execute the labor agreement.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Checking to see if you're listening for the dates and all this stuff. Any questions or comments?
I just wanted to thank the municipal team of Andrew McCreary, Ian McMeans, and Bonnie Cross for their efforts.
Who did it then?
Thank you.
Ian, thank you,
Ian.
Ian. And Bonnie.
Ian and Bonnie, thank you for your efforts. We appreciate it. Any other comments? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Right.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously and we are adjourned.
Right. Whack, whack.
All right.
Definitely.